This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Peak Design Outdoor Sling 7 liter, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. Before we dive in, I should say this is a pre-release sample that Peak Design sent us, so thank you to Peak Design for sending this to us. But if there are any differences between what you see here and what is on the Peak Design product page, that could be what it is. This is pre-release. So we've got 210D ripstop nylon. As you can see the little bit of texture there to it, so very lightweight, but also still pretty durable and water resistant. So I took this for a few walks in the rain. We've had a lot of rain lately. No problems with water getting inside, and I also fell off my bike with this on, and I'm not going to tell you how I fell off my bike because it was really dumb, but I went over the handlebars and I kind of like did a barrel roll, and this was on my back at the time, so I kind of like landed on this. And as you can see, I think it looks really great for scraping on like asphalt. It was like scraggly asphalt, and it looks perfect. So very happy with this materials, how they've held up both durability wise and water resistance wise. And it's also Bluesign approved and PFAS free. So shouts out environmentally and sustainably as well. So unbranded zippers on this whole line of new Peak Design stuff. Typically I'm really wary of unbranded zippers, but these have held up really well on both this and the 45 liter backpack that I've been testing. I know that we've tested the 2 backpacks and 2 slings, and nobody has had any issues with any of the zippers so far. If we do, you guys will be the first to know. Flipping over here, we do have a Woojin buckle. So this is the same buckle that's on the backpack as well. I really like it. Very easy to pop open. Easier than some of the other buckles, not necessarily from Peak Design, but just buckles in general that I've used in the past. Just very simple to pop open, and it hasn't popped open when I didn't want it to pop open, even when I went tumbling off my bicycle. So, and I also took this on some hikes with branches and stuff hitting me. Didn't pop open. Very much like this, and you can kind of place it where you want to, but we'll get into that later on. So flipping back to the side here, we do have a attachment system here on the bottom using these gear loops, and you can pretty easily stow various size things in here. This is just a GorillaPod that we have in the office here, and you can pop these off or just kind of slide it out like this. I like doing this because then I don't have to pop it back on. I have a larger travel tripod that also fit inside of here. This one's nice because it's kind of got the groove, so it kind of holds onto it, and you can also use this to cinch the pack down. So this is expandable and compressible, so you can kind of make it smaller. I have a lot of stuff inside here right now, so it's not compressing super well, but if you don't have the camera cube that I currently have stowed inside of here, you really can compress this a lot, and it just kind of looks a bit nicer than it does when I try and compress it like that. But there are, there isn't a ton going on around the outside here, as you can see. We do have the Peak Design logo there, and I like how it matches the zipper pull here. But overall, very sleek, and I promise it looks sleeker when you don't have the camera cube inside there, and I also have a kind of bulky wallet in the front. But overall, very happy with how the exterior has performed. So moving on to the harness system, we have a pretty ample back panel here, but I should mention that it's not so much so that it's going to negate the lightweight materials on the front side. So because this is so lightweight, you can really pack it down small and throw it in your day pack, throw it in your checked luggage, whatever, and it packs down really small. And this back panel has padding, but it's not super substantial, so it's obviously not going to be as padded as some if it were to have more padding, but you can also still really fold this up really easily. I think that's worth noting, and if you get close up and personal, you can see the aeration there stays pretty cool. I mean, this is all black, dark colored, and it breathes pretty well. Took us on quite a few bike rides, no issues to report there. And I should mention too, when I fell off my bike, that's what this is from, and that's what these are from too. So very fresh, so it's still ingrained in my head. But we have this strap here, and the strap is ambidextrous. You can remove them. I will say these are kind of challenging to remove, and it wasn't just me. You're supposed to twist it and then pop it, and you'll get it eventually. It's just not as easy as I feel like it should be, and maybe over time it does get easier. I'm not going to waste your time trying to show you that I'm struggling with it. But I think over time it will get easier. I have used this exact same system on the Peak Design duffel before, and it was much easier. And I did that a lot more just because I had to take the strap on a lot more than I did for something like this. But you can flip it around, and it is hard, but once you get it how you want it, you're probably not going to be flipping it around all the time. It's also worth mentioning that you can just take this off if you want to as well. The adjustments are really easy to make on the strap here, and the extra strap hides behind the back panel, which I really like, so it's not flapping around, and we're pretty well padded on the shoulder strap here as well, and we do have a little loop so you can attach gear here if you want to too. So if you are finding this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So as you can see, I have it on my back right now, and the way that I found the strap most comfortable, that little attachment loop that I was talking about, is also how you attach the stabilizer strap. So it's not in the perfect position, but I did cycle like this multiple times, and I think that there are better ways to kind of set that up. Like just the way I've been saying, the way I did it isn't perfect, but it was comfortable and it doesn't really move around nearly as much when you have the stabilizer strap on. But you can also pop it off pretty easily. And I've got not great range of motion, so it's hard for me to get all the way back here, but stabilizer strap is now off. So go back into the regular fit note stuff. I really like wearing this on my back, especially when I'm cycling, because it doesn't move around a ton even without the stabilizer strap, and then with the stabilizer strap moves around even less. But it's pretty easy to transition it to, not hit the mic here, front carry, and then I have access to the gear that's inside of here. So I've been like on my bike, you know, hop off and get my camera out and take a picture. I've actually got a video of it. Maybe we'll put it in right here. You can also wear this in fanny pack mode if you want to, waist pack, bum bag, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's more natural as a crossbody bag and just feels like a little bit too much because it's so big when you put it in fanny pack mode. So we have two secondary compartments to work with. So we'll jump into the front pocket first. So there's no organization or anything like that inside of here. I've just got my wallet stowed in there right now. Fits pretty snugly in there because I have so much gear stowed inside. So down here, it's kind of sitting at the bottom right now, is the key clip elastic like we're used to kind of seeing from Peak Design on this new series. Little plastic clip there. I like that it's elastic because you can get a little bit of extra oomph out of it. And the length is pretty good, but if you don't want to use it, it kind of just slinks at the bottom. I guess if you are using it, it kind of slinks to the bottom too. So keep that in mind when you're stowing gear inside of here. So this is typically maybe my phone, wallet, snacks. I've got pretty good access to it when it's on the front of me, but you have pretty good access to the main compartment as well. So whatever you stow here, if you want quick access to it, you could also stow it inside the main compartment. So it's also worth noting that whatever you put inside of yours kind of becomes the front face of the pack. So if you have something lumpy and you put it in there, it's gonna make the front face not look as pretty. So just keep that in mind. On the back side here, as you can see, we have this little handle, which I forgot to mention earlier. No padding or, you know, aeration or anything like that. It's just kind of here. But for a sling especially, that doesn't bother you so much because you're not really going to carry this a ton. You can kind of use this as a pouch if you want to, because you can just take these straps off. So you can take the straps off and then use this as a pouch inside your bag, and then maybe you will be carrying it more. But even right now, I've got a camera inside of here, and it's, you know, it's not the heaviest. It's not really digging in too much, but I can see why people don't like them for a backpack. But for this, it doesn't bother me so much. But going into this hidden compartment here, there are some attachment loops here, which I wanted to mention as well. So there are some little attachment loops here, so you can attach gear onto the back of the sling if you want, or if you want to attach this sling to another bag, you can use both of these to kind of like loop one of these gear loops down and around and attach it to the outside of a bag. So lots of opportunity for that on this back side here. And then I just have my phone stowed inside of here. Fits in there no problem. The opening is a little bit smaller than the actual pocket is, so if I stick my hand in there to kind of illustrate that, it goes all the way over here, and then all the way over here as well. And it is like a stretchier material, so it does have a little bit of like give. Can't really show you, but like I'm like getting my finger almost out of this little pocket here. So you have can fit some larger phones in there. You shouldn't have a problem fitting most phones in there. If you have a supersized phone with a supersized case, maybe you'll struggle. And it's also worth noting that whatever you stow inside here becomes the back panel. So similar to the front pocket, whatever you put here becomes your front face. Whatever you put here becomes your back panel. So if you put something, again, lumpy, it's gonna poke out against you. And that's especially uncomfortable, like if you're cycling or something like that and you have it on your back and you're like leaned over like this, you're gonna feel it because you're not gonna have a flat, or like even this is kind of like molds to your back a little bit. So it's not gonna do that so much. It's just gonna poke you in your back, and it's just not as comfortable. So phone, even like my wallet has a little bit of width to it because I have my keys and stuff in there. So it's not super comfortable back there. So phone, passport works well because the passport's gonna mold to your back a little bit too. Just be conscious of what you're putting in there. I've already talked about it enough, but those are the secondary compartments. I found myself not using them nearly as much because this is such a big sling that I'm able to put most of the things I want to put in the main compartment. But I do use this front one for snacks a lot, especially when I'm riding my bike and can have my snacks separate from everything else, so I don't have to worry about, you know, going into the same compartment as my camera gear or whatever I'm stowing inside here at the time to get a snack out and have to worry about something like a memory card coming out or something like that. So really dig this pocket. And then if you are someone who likes to have a secret pocket for your phone, it works really well. So moving into the main compartment, there are really two ways you can use this. I mean, there's infinite ways that you can use it, but two primary ways that you can use this thing. So right now I have the Peak Design extra small camera cube stowed inside of here, and that is my absolutely massive Instax wide camera inside of it. So when you add this camera cube inside of here, it adds a lot of structure to this material. As you can see, this is just a thin nylon ripstop. It's not super structured or anything like that, but right now this is a structured sling because that camera cube is doing all of the heavy lifting. So if you pull that out of there, it is now not structured. So right when I had that in there, it is, I mean, this isn't a super popular camera, but I was able to fit my Fuji X-T3 and an additional lens inside of here as well. But this is typically what I used it for. I like riding my bike around with the Instax camera. I think it's pretty fun. So you can fit a variety of stuff in here. And even if you own one of these, but you don't necessarily want to use this thing for a camera all the time, this just adds structure to this sling to where you just have a little bit more, it's just a little, I don't want to say bulkier, but I think you know what I mean. It just has a little bit more gusto to it. You know, it's going to have structured materials. Whereas now it doesn't, but you also can use this thing for more things now because of that. There's a ton of space in here. 7 liters is a ton of space, but you can also see how much easier it is for me to kind of fold this down here on the bottom and secure this to make it look a bit nicer when, at least on the bottom part, because before when I tried to cinch that down with the camera cube inside there, it just kind of didn't really work. But this does a really good job of cinching it down to about like 5 liters or something like that, depending on, you know, what you've got stowed inside of here. So on the back wall, I couldn't really use any of this organization while the camera cube was inside of there because the wall backs right up to it. So in theory, you could have gear there, but you're not going to be able to access it very easily because that's backed up against it. So we have this zippered pocket here with those unbranded zippers we mentioned, and then we have some really good organization inside of here. We've got 4 different liner pockets. These are really good for you know, like SD cards and stuff like that, different dongles, different photography equipment, but also just like life stuff. Like you can put cables in there, you could put a charging brick in there, you can really put whatever you want. Then you've got all this extra space here as well with the stretchy material to put larger items inside of there. You could put in a hard drive in here. I put a hard drive in there, both a very small one and also a larger one that takes like a regular big chunky cable, which I actually stowed inside one of the pockets there. So if you zip that up, we do have 3 larger pockets out here, and so your phone will fit in there. You have to go vertically with it. Depending on your phone, if you have a larger phone, it might not. So that fits there and kind of just sits along the back. If you don't want to put your phone in this back panel, you can do that. You can also put a hard drive in here if you wanted to, or just whatever kind of daily use gear, like my wallet's going to fit in there as well, no problem. And because it's elastic, it's going to kind of hold onto it as well, so it's not going to go flying. But other than that, we really don't have any other organization. There's nothing on this side over here. We do have a nice little Outdoor Sling 7 liter from Peak Design logo. I really just very fun little artwork there, but no organization inside of here. So if you are using this without the camera cube, you kind of are up to your own devices to make things kind of organized, but you can fit large gear in here. So if you have like a packable rain jacket, an umbrella probably better go on here, but if your umbrella's dry and you don't like the look of it out there, you can stow it inside of here. Then once it gets wet, you could leave it outside here. You really are up to your own when it comes to organization because there's just so much space here. And again, you can kind of see it better if you undo these to make them a lot less. So there's just a ton of space in here. You can put a ton of stuff like my over-ear headphones fit inside of there. But all of that is not necessarily negated. It's just different when you have this inside of here. And I should mention when you put this in, you are supposed to pull this little thing out to make it easier to fold this down. But I actually kind of like being able to just go like this and stick it inside of here like that, because then if I want to, I can pull this out, close it, and set it to the side. For whatever reason, I still have that firmness on there. But it does eat up some space, so that's kind of a personal preference thing, but you can remove that hard little sheet thing that comes out of there. But once this is in here, as you can see, I can't really get to this organization very easily. If you go like, well, especially while you're wearing it, because it's like down below you. But it's just basically 2 different vibes and almost 2 different slings when you include the possibility of using this camera cube. So I don't love it without the camera cube in it just because it's so floppy, but at the end of the day, if you're looking for a packable sling that also can be used for your camera, like this is pretty tiny for a 7 liter sling you can put your camera in. So there you have it, the Peak Design Outdoor Sling 7 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.